All right, some breaking Philadelphia Eagles news items to get to over the last couple of days. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles Now. My name is Chase Sr. And if you want Niners coverage every single day, year-round, don't forget to give me a follow and subscribe. We're hands-free here, so no worries. Just want to talk some birds here and continue to give you the best content on YouTube. And by the way, you can follow me on all social media platforms at Chase_Senior, X, closing in on 20,000 followers, Instagram, over 43K. Just started a TikTok page, and we're already closing in on 4,000 followers there. So it's at Chase_Senior. Really appreciate all of the support. So on the injury front for Philadelphia, Lane Johnson will not play once again. Philadelphia this year, 0-3 without him. And all time, this is just incredible. And it speaks to how special Lane Johnson is, his dominance as a football player, and what he's meant to this Eagles organization culturally, but to this offense as an individual, to the scheme because of all the plays that go his way, how great he is in pass protection as well, in the run and pass game, and the greatness of Lane Johnson just as a player and individual. I mean, he's going to go down as one of the most dominant Philadelphia Eagles in the history of this organization and one of the best right tackles of all time. And even with the PED suspension, he's still chasing a gold jacket to go to Canton. I think he's going to get it, and that's why Lane, according to Jay Glazer from a couple of weeks ago, isn't anywhere close to retiring, even given this Liz Frank injury and him talking about his career winding down and missing important things like holidays and such. But the Eagles throughout his career, since he was drafted in 2013 out of Oklahoma by Chip Kelly, they've won over 100 games. Their winning percentage is about 66, 67%. Without Lane Johnson this year, Philadelphia 0-3, 15-27 all time. That winning percentage goes all the way down about 30 points to 36, 37%. And so the Eagles did not place him on IR with that Liz Frank foot injury. Remember how coming out of the bye week, he got hurt against Green Bay, came back the following week, played against Detroit, and practiced in a limited fashion that week in the lead up to that game, then got hurt early again in that game. And I think that the ankle Liz Frank injury was all kind of related. And so got injured in both those games. We haven't seen him since. And the Eagles have gone on to lose 3 straight games, blowing the 21-0 lead against Dallas, losing the following week in ugly fashion against the Chicago Bears, in which you gave up 284 rushing yards because your offense couldn't help your defense, and the defense just got gashed. And then last week, losing to the Chargers, heartbreaking fashion in overtime. And so there was hope with the Eagles not putting Lane on IR that he was going to come back maybe around this point. Because if a team believes a player is going to miss 4 games, you put him on IR, you open up a roster spot. And so the Eagles had been hoping, and even Schefter confirmed this earlier this week, that he was going to return either this week, but it looks like next week could be the week for Lane Johnson. He's not going to play in this game. Obviously, it impacts this Eagles offense going up against the Las Vegas Raiders. Must-win game. You've lost 3 in a row. You're now 8-5. The Cowboys right now 6-1. The magic number with 4 weeks to go. Eagles wins combined with Cowboys losses is 3. And you're going up against a Raiders team that is one of the worst teams in football. Offensively, they're an absolute joke. Kenny Pickett is getting the start over Geno Smith. It's going to be cold. Wind gusts of up to 30 miles per hour. Temperatures around 20 degrees. I think snow is in the forecast prior to the game. It's going to be a blustery, cold December day in South Philadelphia. I have confidence that the Eagles can win this game even without Lane Johnson, but you mess around, you turn it over, you go 3 and out, multiple drives to start the game, the fans start booing, the team gets tight, and a couple of mistakes can sway the ball game. If it's close, then the Eagles run the risk of a disastrous loss. So there's the potential of that, because who's to say with how they've played over the last few weeks and really all year offensively that they're going to turn this around instantly. That's why a lot of fans have lingering worries. And then the weather conditions, Max Crosby being on the other side of the football, the Raiders having a good run defense, and if you can't throw it or run it in bad weather conditions, it could be a disaster. I think the Eagles are going to win, but they're going to have to do it without Lane Johnson. There was also a big concern that his backup, Fred Johnson, wasn't going to be able to play in this game. I think he had an ankle injury that he suffered in practice a couple of days ago. And he popped up on the injury report, on Thursday. But then on Friday, he was listed as full go. And he's going to play in this game. If you were without Lane Johnson and Fred Johnson, and you're talking about Max Crosby, a top 5 pass rusher in the game, lining up consistently on that left side of the defensive line of scrimmage, yeah, that could spell a lot of big worries, a disaster for the Eagles, and make you very concerned about this football game, running it and throwing it. But Fred Johnson playing, good boost for this Eagles team. He's obviously proven he's a very viable backup offensive tackle. And Lane Johnson, he said, has been helping him to prepare for Max Crosby. We know Lane prepares so well and is really a technician with his mechanics and that quick first jump step in which he times it with the snap of the football, and how he's able to shut down some of the top pass rushers in the game. So, good person to learn from for Fred Johnson in Lane Johnson. The other thing I kind of wanted to talk about here, which I think is good news for the Eagles in a way, and might inspire some hope for the Eagles, is this. That I had said that with some of the changes that the Eagles made offensively in that Monday Night Football game, with Nick Sirianni having more say and direction with the offense, I came away from that game kind of encouraged with some of the things that the Eagles did on the offensive side of the football. And what I mean by that is that the Eagles did move the ball. Jalen Hurts turned it over 5 times, but despite turning it over 5 times and having to settle for some Jake Elliott field goals, you still moved the ball and you found some success on the offensive side of the ball. Also from a design, play calling scheme, schematics, nuanced, innovative approach and philosophy and standpoint, like, I do like some of the modern things that the Eagles did on offense to change things during that mini bye from the Bears game to the Chargers game that you saw the Eagles can be successful with, that could be successful moving forward. And if you work on better blocking, execution, less drops, and some of the fine intricacies that make a football play work where you are in sync and there is cohesion, which there's been a huge lack of that combined with the penalties, you can see this Eagles offense turning it around. I like some of the RPOs. I like some of the design quarterback runs. I like some of the fake direct runs for Hurts where he dropped back in the red zone or at least closing in on field goal territory, and he's looking to make a play downfield. I like how the Eagles at times moved the pocket. Hurts had rolled to his left, rolled to his right. That always aids a struggling offensive line. Running the football, you had the 52-yarder to Saquon. You had some runs to the left side where you were successful. You double-teamed some guys up front. You had some wham blocks. You had the patented Eagles pull blocks, getting your athletes out in space. I like some of the throws that Hurts was able to make. I know he turned it over a lot, and the 5 turnovers are alarming. He has 7 turnovers in the last 2 games. I don't want to see the Eagles shy away from doing some of these creative, innovative, modern-day offensive conceptual things and get scared of doing those and repeating those practices just because Hurts turned it over. I actually want to see the Eagles double down on that and continue to do it more and let Hurts deal with these struggles, because with the long macro view, that's how the Eagles will become their best selves on offense. You can't play offensive football in 2025 with some of the high school, elementary school level concepts, no crossing routes, not maximizing a dual threat quarterback like Jalen Hurts, not putting your receivers, your targets, your running backs, and offensive linemen in a position to succeed. And how do you help them out? You help them out with pre-snap motion. You help them out with moving the pocket and play designs and some of these creative modern-day concepts, targeting the middle area of the field, which when you don't do it makes you easier to defend because you're taking away a full third of the football field, sideline to sideline. And so Kevin Patullo and Nick Sirianni combining, we saw visually a different type of offense against the Chargers. Keep in mind, that is one of the best defenses in the NFL. And Jesse Minter, their defensive coordinator, is going to get a head coaching job soon, or he's going to get the Michigan head coaching job. Mark my words. He is a great defensive mind. Went to that Jim Harbaugh school of coaching that Mike McDonald did as well. His Seahawks defense and team is humming right now. There's a Sharon Moore joke here that you can insert because we're talking about the Harbaugh coaching tree that we won't get into, other than the fact it's one of the wildest stories that I've ever seen. But anyway, Eagles moved it for almost 400 yards. They're in position to score points. They still had some penalties and execution issues. But if you solve some of those things, and if the scheme is a little bit more dynamic and creative and explosive, I think the Eagles can be much better offensively than they have been. And the point that I'm making here is that I feel encouraged coming out of this game. You've also seen the likes of Dan Orlovsky say, I feel very encouraged about this offense with some of the things that they did, despite the loss and the turnovers, compared to where I was going into that game because of the adjustments that we saw on the offensive side of the football. If you don't like Dan Orlovsky, I think he's a fantastic NFL analyst. Jason Kelce echoed this as well. A Philadelphia Eagles GOAT, hero, legend, and icon. He said that he liked what he saw offensively from this play calling, play design, concept, scheme standpoint that has him encouraged as well with what this Eagles team could potentially do moving forward. And so this game against the Raiders, it's kind of unfortunate that there's bad weather because I want good conditions for this Eagles offense to have the opportunity to find a groove and find momentum with the final 4 games of the season here. We might not get it because of the weather, but what they can work off of is a little bit of momentum, a little bit of confidence, and a little bit of an, oh my gosh, let's open our eyes, open our ears, let's have a collaborative approach, and let's just try to get this thing right and implement these things and see what it can lead to. And I think it can lead to this Eagles offense getting it together at the end of the year. Just some positivity. Now, obviously, there's a lot that has to go right here, but I feel good going into this Raiders game. Commanders, Bills, Commanders after that, what the Eagles have the potential to do on the offensive side of the ball. And you combine that, like Jeffrey Lurie said, who said this week, I am not concerned at all about this Eagles offense. When we get it together, look out. Jordan Davis saying something similar. And he senses no similarities between 2025 and 2023. But if the offense is better, you combine that with a better special teams unit and a top 5 overall defense in a wide open NFC, anything is possible for the Philadelphia Eagles this year. I know the vibes are down. I know the players seem worn out. But that adrenaline starts to hit the final month of the regular season. We're here. This is where you make your money. This is where you play clutch football. This is where you stack your memories. This is what you work toward during the offseason, training camp, preseason, regular season, is for moments like this. Eagles are 8-5, 94% chance to make the playoffs, 70% chance to get the number 3 seed. You win this division, you hold off the Cowboys, you host a playoff game, you hope for an upset where the number 2 seed goes down, and you can host a second round game. You get another upset with the 1 seed. You could host the NFC Championship game. The Eagles hosted last year as a 2 seed, and you can make a run at winning back-to-back Super Bowls. I'm fired up. I don't know if it's my new stand that allowed me to talk hands-free because some of you were getting on me. Chase, stop blogging while driving. I said, I'm on full self-drive mode. Now, we're just talking like we're having a phone conversation, talking Eagles here, right off the dome, because we love talking birds here on the program. All right, I'm going to enjoy the rest of my Saturday. I hope you do as well. We'll be live tomorrow. Eagles-Raiders watch party. We'll be live an hour before kickoff. Best place to experience an Eagles game outside of being at the actual game. And I will see you all soon. Peace. Go Birds.